Good evening, Let's Talk Family. Oh, great night tonight. Great night. Very familiar face on the screen. Happy to have her back. She's always been and welcome to be back. And her energy. I mean, for me, it's like I was in the desert and I couldn't get no fresh water. And I finally ran into an oasis full of water by seeing this place. Because, sometimes you meet people along your journey that you just need their energy every now and then. And I ain't gonna lie with Let's Talk Family. I'm gonna be totally transparent. I definitely appreciate it. Be able to chop it up with her, talk to her, and go over this interesting first quarter in 2022. Go over some numerology. I know there's a bunch of people typically going to watch the broadcast, and y'all know how Drea is. Best thing I can tell you is put those birthdays up now before we start getting into our conversation. I could just in the comment, and she could give you a short reading if you would like a more detailed reading. Her website is from below. Drea at Browngirlfromboston.com. I don't know if you guys see it. It's Drea, Drea at Browngirlfromboston.com. What up, man?
What's up, Q? What's up? Let's talk family. I'm back in the building.
Well, I mean, so I hit you in January. I think you give us I think every quarter I will definitely try to get you on the show to give us our quarter report.
Okay.
So I hit you in January basically to give us a forecast on the first quarter of the year, and you had some things going on, which was good because I needed a little resetting myself. Little things got out of whack, which sometimes think we perceive things to be out of whack, but sometimes things happen to give us clarity
Mm-hmm.
in life and what we're trying to do. So, with that being said, talk to us about this first quarter of 2022.
Got it. So let me break down the numbers. So, of course, 2022, it equals 6, right? But when we have that 0, that's, I always say forever infinite. So we're going to feel the amplify of the personal year 6. So 6 is all about what? Collaboration. It's all about finding your soul tribe, your family, relocation, caretaking. You're going to see a lot of pregnancies, marriages, divorces, partnerships. So I think a lot of time,
Pregnancies.
yes, we're gonna see,
Well,
and not just pregnancy like physically, but also pregnancy with possibilities, right? Like you may be pregnant with, opportunities or businesses, and you're kind of like lining those things up so you can be more successful moving forward.
okay. Okay. Yeah,
Yes.
because you said pregnancies, and I know that Valentine's Day for those that celebrated just passed, and love was in the air. I know the last one Valentine's we was basically on punishment, staying in the house. So um, I was doing some moving around on Monday, and I did see there was a lot of cars out. People were shopping. The commercialization of the particular holiday was in full throttle. So we got 6, man. 2022. I didn't even think about that when you said that until just now. Like,
Hmm.
ooh, and I know that coming up, we're about to have two, 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 two.
Exactly. So that's a special day, right? Of like 222 2022. So I would suggest everyone to really manifest what you truly want. So before you get into manifestation, like really get your goals book out, like get a notebook, start really writing down goals, cleanse your house. So whatever that is old, broken, you haven't used in a while, like, and I say a while, like 6 months, a year, or just even the time we was during the pandemic, right? I suggest that you do a real cleanse of your home, sage, burn some Palo Santo, whatever the case is, because you want to enter into new energy to come in. You don't want to have that stagnant energy, because now I believe that we're entering to another pandemic of mental health. Just being on the academia side, coming from a clinician side, I'm seeing a lot of mental health and suicide on the rise. So I've been in a lot of workshops with that. And so this is a heavy time for people. So hence why it's important to, number six, to check on your family, check on your friends, but kind of still mind your business at the same point in time too, like still stay in your lane, but check on your people, be sincere, because this is a time for all of us to be of service, because we have a lot of cleaning up to do as far as with energy wise, and just even within our homes and even within ourselves.
Yeah, it's interesting that you brought that up because I did a show with a brother named Basim, and it was men living with trauma, men living with trauma, and then I did another show with conversations with friends yesterday, where we talked about mental health in the Black community, and I had seen that mental health is on the rise for the young Black men. We've seen a bunch of known celebrities' children commit suicide, and we just sometimes always think that mental health is just a suicide or whatever, not knowing mental health is stress, depression. It's not always a diagnostic; it also has symptoms as well. So, and with the pandemic and inflation, a lot of people are like really, as we would say, going through it.
Right.
So like, what is this saying? Like, what do we? Because I know that the second quarter, most of the time, people don't realize that these quarters end of the year they come very quickly. So, being that we're basically in the middle of the first quarter, so
Right.
like you said, a lot of things is being put in our face. Um, Dealing with how we deal with our stress and dealing with the mental health issue, and we're learning ways to cope. Like you said, also, you guys don't. You guys may not understand it. Drea is here talking about numerology as well as the first quarter, but she's also a professor. So she teaches at two colleges, Tuskegee and what's the other one now?
Utica College in upstate New York.
Utica College, upstate New York. So she's coming not only from a spiritual aspect, but she's also coming from the clinician side. So she's not telling you nothing that she's not experiencing every day and what she's seeing actually in the field.
Mhm.
Um, so what could we do? I mean, I know like what you're saying with the numbers and knowing the first quarter and how all the signs is adding up, and then like, is there any preventive measures that we could do?
Yeah, definitely. So going back to what I was saying of just checking in with yourself. So self-care is very needed. So I'm gonna get real blunt, and some people gonna probably clutch their pearls. Like, stop trying to lay your burdens on other people. This is a time to really get some mental health um assessment. So go to a therapy, because everyone is burnt out. I see it in my students, I see it within myself, and people are trying to work through this burnout. They're trying to become workaholics, right? And a lot of times people don't want to deal with their inner work. So this is the time to really do your inner work. Like really, like I said, go to a therapist, go to someone that is a professional to help you assess what's going on with you. Really do some radical self-care. And I think a lot of times we get self-care twisted, like, oh, I gotta go to the spa. No, a lot of times self-care is establishing boundaries, because six is all about boundaries. Who do you need to set boundaries with? Do you need to dump emotionally on that person? Do you need to reevaluate your friends and your family? Do you need to move, right? Because let's talk about the cost of rent. A lot of places up north, out west are ridiculously expensive, and you're going to see a lot of people making mass exodus where down south. I live down south. So
Or
you're
con-
going to
or,
see
con-
like,
or continue to put themselves in a bigger financial burden than they already are in.
say that
Because
again.
if they don't make the exodus, they're going to continue to put themselves in a bigger financial burden that they're in.
Exactly. And with inflation, you don't see your job giving you a raise. So this is when you gotta what? Know your worth. So for me, I'm gonna tell a little bit about myself with my job. So I know that I have math skills, right? And so I was on the verge of like leaving one of my jobs, and I was like, I'm out of here. So I end up getting a pretty hefty negotiation on my contract and salary, because this is when you got to know your worth. So that's part of self-care too, to maintain my lifestyle. Sometimes we have to reevaluate our lifestyles, right? And it's not all about getting the bag. And I think it's like, oh, it's the bag culture. Well, he's a multimillionaire, he can do this. But if your mind's not right, so what if you got all this money? If your emotional health is not right, your spiritual health is out of alignment, so what if you have money? So a lot of times we have to get our mind right and got to get our spiritual life right. And once again, sometimes we got to clear out that energy of people who, bringing us the bad vibes, or people who's needy. I don't like needy people. Okay. I don't like needy people. If I find out that you're needy, I'm definitely establishing boundaries of like, you do not have accessibility to me. So I think a lot of times too, we're burnt out because we're constantly online. We're giving our energy away. We're giving our power away. We're, just being accessible, and we're just giving that permission to any and everybody. So we have to really reevaluate our holistic life and establish those boundaries. And you got to be disciplined too. Discipline is also six. You have to be disciplined about those boundaries. You have to be disciplined about what you eat, what you intake with your eyes, even with the arguments. Like, I'm seeing so many people on edge and arguing. Stay in your lane, mind your business. Do you need to have that argument with people who you don't know online, who's behind the avatar, who's behind the profile picture, and you don't know them? 9 times out of 10, no, because they're not paying your bills. They probably mentally unstable, and they probably need to get clinical therapy as well.
Like I said, you guys, in the chat, if you guys, you know how Drea does with her readings with or your birthday. So if you have a birthday and you want, well, everybody has a birthday. If you want to put your birthday up in the chat. If you want a more detailed reading, you can contact Drea at DREA at browngirlfromboston.com. And so she could do a more in-depth reading. And there is a price with this. Um, with a more in-depth reading. So just if that's what you want to do, get in touch with him. Mr. T, I'm gonna put yours up in 1 second. I just seen it. I want to ask you about the because I find myself as we get older and we start to learn more about ourselves and about, as we would say, the universe and about people, we tend to be like, for example, I was going through a bunch of stuff. You knew some stuff about what I was going through. And then it's like, my approach was never blaming a bunch of people. It was more like, I need a reset of me. And you see that a lot of people, Drea, tend to be like, my job this, my personal life this, the kids this, ain't nothing going right. And the first thing they do is blame everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And could you speak to how, like, dealing with like the common denominator in all those things is you?
Right.
I mean, your job has nothing to do with your kids. It's
Exactly.
you the only you're the connection. So could you explain how a person could really, really, like you said, clean their house? I know people that's into the sage thing, like really get let's say a spiritual bath of what they need to do.
Right. So, like you said, the common denominator is yourself. And going back to the numbers again, this is a season. Six is all about what? Self responsibility, self accountability. Everything starts with self. So you have to go in and say, yeah, I have some messed up ways, some messy ways. I'm on edge. Why? Is it trauma? Is it adverse childhood trauma that you haven't dealt with? Once again, going back to therapy. But before you even get to therapy, the number one thing you have to acknowledge that you do have some trauma or some things that you have to work out within self. No one else can say, hey, you need to work on that. You know what you need to work on if it's constantly being brought up to the surface. So once again, doing that hard inner work and really looking at yourself in the mirror. Michael Jackson wrote "Man in the Mirror." Doing that hard shadow work that you're still holding on to. So holding on to the trauma, holding on to that argument you had with someone 10 years ago, holding on to that divorce or breakup, whatever the case is. You have to start working on that and stop blaming everyone else. So now it's time for you to carry your own burden and to really start doing the inner work. And sometimes you may have to step away from social media. Sometimes you may have to step away from what they said, being outside, right? Because Six is also talking about being in the crib, being at home, really cherishing your home, renovating your home. And your home is what? Within, in our bodies. This is our home, besides the home that we live in. So a lot of times we have to really just go within and be like, yeah, there's some things I need to work on.
And that was, for the most part, in my personal life, was I was saying to myself, like, I don't really be around people. So if I'm going through these issues, it's me. It got to be me, because I'm not around people enough, even with coworkers. I'm not around them enough where they can affect me, because it may be 20 minutes a day where I'm literally around them, even within like a 5 feet radius. I'm laughing because I know who Mr. T is, and the last time I talked to Mr. T earlier today, I was crying, like crying. So the birthday is 3/23/76.
Okay, so this person's a 5 in Aries. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. T, I don't know if you like a fiery person, but please like have a balance, because 5s can get erratic. 5s can have addiction problems. So, whether it's drugs, sex, food. So really find a balance. You have to have cool heads prevail as well, because when 5s be on that tangent, they just be going. They're the silent assassins. I have a lot of 5s in my life, so they're like the
Yeah.
silent
Well,
assassins.
well, this particular person been on assassin mode for the last 2 days.
So, maybe someone had pissed him off, but usually they'll give you the shirt off their back with 5s. 5s are like, the cool, like everyone know them, but a lot of times they're very selective of who they keep in their circle as well. So, just make sure that you're vibrating high when it comes to, the energy that you're exuding out there, because you will attract all type of people, and then you're like, how did I attract this person? So they probably cool with like 1 or 2 people that is the barrier of their secrets too.
Yeah. So I know you mentioned that a lot of people, and you always see it on social media, where people be like, "Oh, I'm gonna do me a spa day. I'm gonna take care of this." What do you think? What is your opinion? And it's funny that after all these years, I've never asked you, what is your opinion on fasting?
On fasting, oh, I fast from social media or food or what? Just period.
Whatever you choose, whatever a person chooses, they need to abstain from for a certain amount of time.
I think people should fast or abstain from something, especially if you know that it's becoming a addiction. So let me give you all like a basic one. So let's say that you're single and you abstaining from sex. I think people should do that because you don't want to create soul ties. When you create soul ties, you do your thing, right? You have no business being with that person, but energetically they still connected to you. Then y'all are combining spirits, chemical fluids, even with the spiritual tip, and you may get the wrong soul tie. So you may be like, oh, I'm done with that person. Then you're sitting at the crib, they calling you, they're stalking you, right? And then now we're leveling up to what? Trauma bonding. I can't get it rid of. Remember we talked about trauma bonding, I think a few
Yeah,
episodes ago. And
yeah,
then you're stuck in this trauma bonding situationship because you had no business in the first place. You never vetted that person. You kind of lowered your standards to being with that person. You didn't have any expectations. And so you guys, soul tie, trauma bonding, then you're like, I can't get rid of this person. So that's why it's very important to even fast from, like I said, abstaining from sex if you're single, even with social media, right? Because we all have some type of addiction to social media. So sometimes you need to pull back because once again, when you are consuming social media, you putting all your business out there, then you're like, oh, I'm easily triggered by this. Yeah, because you're constantly on social media and other people's business. Mind your business and take time off from social media and reflect on what you need to work on. I take social media fast. I take I take fast from people that I don't want to talk to. I'm like, yo, I'm not talking to anyone at this point in time because I have to recenter myself and get grounded. Because if I continue to give, because I'm actually an ambivert. I give a lot of my energy out. So I straddle the fence between being an introvert and extrovert. I have an extroverted job, but a lot of times I am introverted. So I exude a lot of energy to my students, to products that I work on. So a lot of times I don't want you to be bombarding me with texts or calling me, and I didn't give you permission to do either one. You instead of saying, "Hey, Drea, you good?" It's like, and I don't like when people are, "How you doing?" And especially if I know if they're a conversational narcissist, they're gonna bombard me with some BS that I didn't solicit for, right? So we have to be careful of, once again, we have to really just fast and be okay with that. Be okay with sitting in silence. Sometimes we may have to sit things out for 30 days.
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned soul ties because I think sometimes people don't realize it's like it doesn't have to always be a physical soul tie. It could be like I was explaining to in the group. It's funny. Talked about when you got the super pessimistic friend that you got love for, they got love for you. You know that they love you, but you could be the super optimistic person and they're the super pessimistic person. So you don't even like to call them because even if you call them, you be like, they're gonna down whatever I'm gonna say. So when you see their number on your phone, you be like, I don't need to hear this. I can't deal with the energy. It's like you just gonna come. I can tell you I got a promotion. You're gonna tell me it's a trick bag and they're gonna tell me to do extra work. Like I don't want to hear that. I know everybody knows with more money, as they say, when you work for people is more responsibility. Everybody knows it's like a hidden rule. But I don't
Right.
need nobody to tell me that. Not right now. I want to be telling you, like, yo, I got a promotion. They let me know they really care. They've been seeing my work performance. So I think that soul ties, I think a lot of times we tend to think that they are just sexual. It could just be like who's ever in your circle. And
Mm-hmm.
even like I said earlier, you're the common denominator. So because we're in the six, and for you guys that don't understand where Drea got the six from, is 2022. So because it's about self, we should be focusing, definitely in this first quarter, we should be more focusing on self. Like, look, I need to do some self reflection.
Mm-hmm.
I need to, maybe I need to distance myself from even the vices that I have as
Mm-hmm.
well. So,
Right. Exactly.
so Nicole, who's always very supportive, and hey, Nicole,
Hey,
she,
Nicole.
she put hers up, and I'm quite sure you done did Nicole's,
Oh,
but
yeah.
but
Yeah.
Nicole's is interesting because I'm looking at the numbers. It's 12/9/76.
Right. So Nicole is a Sagittarius, and nine. Sometimes people think, oh, nine is completion. So Nicole need. I think I see Nicole like travel. She likes to travel. She's very like expressive. Nines are expressive people. Nines also too. They can be fired up, especially she's being a Sagittarius. But also too, there's a sweet side, but they have to build rapport with people first to feel that they can trust someone to come into their circle. As well, when it comes to nines, nines could be. My mom is a nine, and they could be. Ooh, you piss them off, it's like they're gonna set the whole city on fire. But then they're like, "Oh, I shouldn't have did that." Like I could have taught them differently. So yeah.
Oh, got a line coming.
Okay, I can get his number. Leo one, of course, we know Leos are definitely, people say that they're the center of attention. I'm Leo rising, so like rising signs, we'll talk about that a little bit, is like what you present to the world. So like Leos are pretty much like, all right, I'm the leader. A lot of times a lot of people think that they self-absorbed, but they just pretty much want to be heard, want to be seen, want to be validated. One's of leaders, one's are very vocal. A lot of times, well, ones they always like order and some type of structure as well, and it's kind of like follow the leader. Nicole said you're on point. Oh, this is like
But
Aquarius
you know
four.
who that is.
Aquarius four. I'm a four. Fours. We all about the mental. We definitely gonna read people, and then we're kind of like the people who are like, we like the mythical stuff. Like we like to kind of be like in the background, but people are always trying to push us to the front because they're like, oh, they brainy, they bright. But a lot of times people don't like that. We do have a lot of secret haters, and they come out the cut, and we're like, oh my god, when did they start hating on me? And we always have to protect our mental health. And for us also too, we have to retreat and do a lot of radical self-care. That's what I learned about myself too. The last 2 years, like when I am like burnt out, like I have to retreat and like really work on Andrea. So I'm more like, forget all y'all figure it out. I have to focus on me because a lot of people do rely on fours. We're
You
kind
know,
of like the captain of the
you
ship.
know, that's the unique thing, and what you said about since we've known each other, both of us are kind of like because we both fours, we've both been on like this journey. Um, I know your journey, you know my journey, and it's like you. I always will go back to what you said last year, like no, 2 years ago. Like this year is going to reveal a lot of stuff. You said that in the beginning of 2020, and things did get very revealing. Things manifested, and it's like you continue to um, be self-critical of yourself and really like try to perfect what your craft, try to perfect what you're working on. It's like you never want to give yourself credit, like, yo, am I doing this right? Like, but then like I said, you, for example, I always tell the story of how we met. For me, you're like a reminder every time I talk to you. You're like a reminder of where I came from. Cause it's like, yo, I remember the first time I called her. It was like, yo, hit me up. Let's do an interview, and you start to really see you start to really see your progress. Because sometimes you don't see your progress. You start to see your
Mm-hmm.
progress and be like, yo, like it's been like 3.5, 4 years. Like time is moving.
Yes.
The progress is going on. Here go my buddy with the wheel kick.
Oh, we know who that is. Yeah, the sevens. You know what? I think a lot of times too, sevens are very spiritual people. Like we underestimate sevens because a lot of times they're the person in the corner looking at all the madness, shaking their head and like doing some prayers and meditations. Like, look at these people. But sevens are they're empath people. They're empathic. I'm learning that more and more about sevens. They're highly sensitive people who you need to have a seven in your life to like, really
I'm gonna ask
bring
you a question.
balance.
I'm gonna ask you a question, and I'm messing with him, right? When I ask you this question, do they turn into different people at nighttime?
At
Because
nighttime,
he's a different person at night. I always say, "Am I talking to the Dwayne before 8 o'clock?" Now sometimes he started his stuff before 8 o'clock, Drea, and I'll be like, "It ain't 8 o'clock yet." But after 8 o'clock, it's a whole different conversation
you
than
know
our.
what? Yeah, sevens, they have like, they're multifaceted too. Like, you'll be shocked and they talk mad trash. So that's why I like sevens. Like, they talk mad trash. You'll be shocked. Like, they talking
And, and also, this is a plug for your hair care products. The young man told me that he sprayed some of the stuff on his pillow, and he said to me, he said, that was the best sleep that I had in 5 years. I slept all night and didn't get up in the middle of the night. He's one of them people that gets up at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. He was like, yo, I just woke up. I got to get ready for work. He's like, I can't believe I got that much rest. So that's a plug. Drea also is a business owner of her own beard products. She promotes it when she promotes it. Would you like to promote it now, Drea?
Yes, so it's called Beautiful Handsome Brand. So I make beard oil, body butters, and also to a sleep fragrance to help you go to sleep. I'm big on sleep hygiene. So a lot of the gentlemen in the group, bought some products. Thank you all, and hopefully you guys bears are looking handsome. So yeah, so check it out. I'm on Etsy. It's called Beautiful Handsome Brand, and like I said, I'm big on men having nice, facial hair, soft, and I hope your girls feel the same way.
Trust me, fellas, it's not Beijing.
No, it's not. No, I don't promote that. Like, I just want the gentleman to
How you how you
exfoliate.
look how you looking like a tar baby on the
I can't stand when men do that. Please stop doing that.
so Drea, we ain't gonna be here too long, right?
Okay.
But give us some advice going into the second quarter.
Some advice. Once again, reestablishing boundaries. Be a service to your family and also to your community, because it's always about being a service, and that's gonna come back. So don't always think about, oh, the money's gonna come back. Like, maybe it's longevity in your life or your family's life. So a lot of people are probably experiencing themselves being caregivers and caretakers. So make sure that you're not experiencing compassion fatigue. If you are, let someone know so they can come in and help, care for, let's say, your elderly, family member. Also, to write down your goals. Like, what do you really want? Like, do you want to fast once a week? Get very simple and basic about your goals. Do you want to travel? Where's the places you want to travel to? And I suggest everyone should travel somewhere, at least once a year, right? What are some habits you want to break? That's important too. And you have to be disciplined. So when I'm saying discipline, if you have to bust out that Google Calendar on your phone and schedule everything, I mean, I have to, because once again, I teach at 2 universities and I have a lot going on. Make sure that you are very scheduled, but put yourself on a schedule first. Also too, it's gonna be like reunions. So a lot of people gonna come back into your life. For instance, the reason I'm seeing reunions, look at all these groups coming back together. I'm putting the plug in. I'm seeing New Edition on Saturday, right? Of course, I gotta see the hometown. So you see like all these groups coming back together, New Edition, Jodeci. You may have an old bay that come back in your life. You have to figure out, okay, that person really changed or not. So you have to really be intuitive. Listen to the inner guide system. Don't be like, oh, I'm just, just don't let the soul ties get in the way. Really tap
Don't
into the
don't
intuition.
don't get caught up in the nostalgia, the glitter gloss and the flaw.
Right.
Like
Yeah, please.
if somebody come to you, don't come to me talking about remember, because when black people say member, we don't say remember. When somebody come and say member, I don't remember nothing.
Right.
Who are you? How we meet? Okay, we used to talk. Let's keep it that way.
Right.
I don't. It's happy to see your favorite group, New Edition, back together again. And it's funny because Keisha was just telling me the other day that one thing about New Edition is they always stuck together and stood by each other when they all went through some personal stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So their relationship, their band, and they all went their separate ways at one time.
Right.
It is stood the test of time, so to say.
Exactly. And then also too, one last thing, mind your business. If you are constantly inserting yourself into other people's business, you need to take a step back and get back in your lane. Only get into folks' business if necessary. So once again, if someone's gonna harm themselves or harm other people, please direct them to some help. Make sure that you are protecting your energy, and also too that you are being responsible for the energy of every space that you go into. So don't be bringing funky, stale energy, right? Make sure that you are, bringing some positive energy and have some type of prayer life, affirmation life, because it's kind of tough. You're gonna want to go because you're gonna get all these opportunities, but you have to decipher what opportunity is in alignment with your life. So always, ask, even when people come into your life, whether someone new or old, what is your intentions for your life and for my life? If you don't have no intentions that's alignment with my life, you can't come over here. So that's for anybody who's watching this. Some dudes like, oh, Drea look cute. You better have some intentions or a purpose, because you're not coming over here thinking, oh, she look young, I can run over her. No, you need to have positive intentions, whether that's a friendship, whether that's a relationship, and make sure you ask those questions. And for my gentlemen too, ask those questions for homegirl. What is your intentions in your life? So that's what you all should do.
With that, it's not much more to sum it up. Appreciate you, Drea, for joining the show. Appreciate you guys in the chat. Um, for myself, me and Drea, like I said, me and Drea have the same number, and I know that a lot of people aren't really into numerology or the type of spirituality that we're talking about. However, the universe all works in unison, I believe,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes we need to take some things and really do some self reflection. Um, for me, the first quarter has been a very self reflection month, a major reset. And with that, we let's take her advice and let's get ready and prepare ourselves for the second quarter. And because it's coming and it's approaching fast. With that, stay blessed and have a great night.
Okay.